What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the podcast. I don't have a name yet. My name is Eduardo de Paz-Barahona, and here's three habits that made me my first $10,000 a month in my online fitness coaching business. This doesn't have to just apply in business. Whether you have a business or you're working for someone, whatever it is, these three habits can still make you a lot of money in the long run. The reason why I'm doing these podcasts is because I want to become a better communicator. And I also want this to be a platform that people can come to when it comes to implementing tips that can help improve their lives. Shout out Higher Up Wellness. This inspiration comes from him. Anyways, three habits that made me my first $10,000 a month in my online fitness coaching business. And number one is being authentic. Now you might be thinking, oh, by the way, I'm looking at this chart right up here. So if you see me glancing over, it's because I had notes up. So number one is being authentic. And you might be thinking, Eduardo, what does authenticity have to do with making money? It has everything to do with making money. Because people buy from who they like, know, and trust. People hire who they like, know, and trust. People go out with who they like, know, and trust. People are friends with who they like, know, and trust. In order to gain that trust and all those things, all those check boxes from people, you have to be authentic. Because humans are so good at smelling bullshit, smelling inauthenticity. We're wired that way because it's our survival mechanism. Because back in the day when there was nothing around us, people had to pick up on subtle nonverbal cues to ensure their safety, to ensure they weren't going to get backstabbed, get their food taken away, take their women hostage, and then kill their children. All right, it's a survival mechanism. So be authentic. And here's my backstory on the things that I had to do in order to learn how to be my authentic self. So I want to bring it back to my childhood. As a kid, I always tried to fit in because I was insecure within myself. Where did that insecurity come from? Well, I come from a first generation Salvadorian household, first immigration family. And for all my first generation peeps that are watching this, you all know that our parents grew up on tough love. All right? So it all started with my dad, okay? He showed me tough love from a very young age. And he was a mobile mechanic. And he would take me to work with him. And I hated working on cars, yo. Like, I hated it because I did not like it and I was bad at it. And when my dad would see that I wasn't able to do the jobs that he wanted me to learn how to do, he would yell at me, like verbally attack me, call me like terrible names. And I didn't realize that I was unintentionally being taught that when people do not approve of me, then there must be something wrong with me. So then I carried that over into basically my childhood in like my public school days. Well, let me make sure that, yep, we're good. We're good. I carried that over into my public school days, right? Elementary, middle, and high school. And I tried to fit in because I would see the popular kids as, oh, well, everyone likes and accepts them. Let me replicate what they do. So I fell into the sports that they did. I got into football and wrestling. Now, don't get me wrong. Those two sports built the foundation that I live by today, which is doing things for a consistently long period of time, whether you feel like it or not. But during those years, I was still hide away parts of me, which was my Latin side, and I'm a huge anime nerd. You know, I would hide that because the years that I grew up, it was mainly like a white person, school, and there was very few Hispanics that I feel like I could relate to, and I realized that I wanted to be accepted because I didn't want to repeat the same things that my dad was, you know, the harsh things he was doing onto me. So I went and followed a crowd that a majority of people were like, whoa, I want to be like that. So I'm like, okay, but I don't want to be treated like that. So let me be like them. And looking back on it, that was so stupid, but I was a kid. So I did football, I did wrestling, and I learned discipline. I learned how to grow skills over a long period of time. And I shied away at showing parts of myself because I was afraid of being outcasted and judged, just like my dad did to me as a kid. Now, it wasn't until after graduating high school, when I went off to college, I started to let loose with who I was as a person and showing more of my authentic self. Because I knew that when I went away to school, it's a fresh start. I can have a clean slate. So then I joined a Hispanic club, shout out James Madison University. I joined a Hispanic club and found other people that had a similar upbringing as me. Then I felt accepted, so I showed more of my anime side, and I was able to make friends that shared that same nerd passion too. So that was my journey of being more authentic. But when it came down to looking for a career, that's when I started to follow the crowd again. Okay, who has an acceptable job that pays well? Let me follow them. And that's when I followed in the footsteps of a lot of my friends that were in tech. So but that wasn't authentically what I wanted to do. I just knew that that's where the money was. And coming from a first immigration household, you guys all know that the first thing that your parents say is go to school so that way you don't have to work like we did. So I broke into tech, and at the highlight of my tech career, I was making $120,000 a year. And once I was making that kind of money, that's when I was like, okay, I've now earned the right to be my authentic self. I know, so stupid, bro, so stupid. But that's what I believed at the time because I was always negatively punished. I don't think you could punish someone positively. I've always received a negative feedback when I wanted to do my own thing. And looking back on it, a lot of people follow the crowd because they don't want to have negative feedback either. But once I was making enough money, I was like, you know what? Like my logic makes some sense. Let me just be myself. And so that's when I started my online fitness coaching business, more part time. So I invested in a business mentor to teach me how to make content, how to attract clients, and how to use social media to, make money on the side with it. And you guys all know that the people that you follow and listen to the most, bro, they're the most authentic. They're truly themselves. And it goes back to what I said earlier. Like you can sense the genuineness, so you begin to like, know, and trust them, which is why you follow them. And once I became more authentic, that's when people bought my coaching programs. Out of all the people they could have chosen, they chose me because one, I had a credible physique, all right, and two, they could sense my genuineness through the camera. Like even right now, you can tell that I'm being myself and that I'm speaking from personal experience. If not, you could little subtle movements you would be able to pick up on and be like, dude, this dude's like being speaking bullshit, you know? So being authentic in front of a camera was what allowed me to attract people that felt like I could help them in an area that I solved for myself, especially in Latino culture, bro. Like we're not known for being the most fit people unless you're like a pro athlete, you know? So that leads to my second point, which is, bro, get into fucking shape. Okay? When I was overweight, my dating life was ass. I lacked so much confidence. No men respected me, and it was hard for me to like have genuine confidence because what did I have to show for? And not only that, other men will bully you when they see you're lacking. That's just how the world works. It wasn't until I got into shape that my dating life improved tremendously. Other men, throwing it back to when I was a kid, when I got into shape, the popular kids 6 months ago that were bullying me came up to me and were asking me, yo, how did you get into shape? What do you do? Since when did you have like an arm vein? Since when did you have a bicep? Like, and the reason why people you gain instant status and respect is because getting into shape is so hard. And when you do something that's hard, you gain admiration. And when you gain admiration, you gain respect. And when you gain respect, people listen to you because you have something worth listening to. And not just in dating, in social situations, but even when I was, giving presentations during my corporate days, I would instantly see people stop doing what they were doing to listen to me, not because I was a great speaker, but because they could instantly see, well, because I was just more, for lack of a better term, appealing to look at. And here's an example. Looking at Brad Pitt, bro, in Troy, I'm thinking, I'm in shape. I'm looking at him like, bro, I want to look like that. Imagine what the average person is thinking when they look at you and you're in shape. They're giving you more of their time, energy, and attention because you are pretty to look at. It's just a fact of life. And if you don't like it, bro, studies show that people that are in shape get higher raises, are able to sell more, get more job opportunities. It's You can either be upset about it or you can do something about it and say, you know what, I'm going to stack as many cards as I can in my favor. And so it's getting into shape has helped me in my dating life, has helped me gain respect from men and women, and has literally made me more money, which is now the foundation of my online fitness coaching program. And that leads to my third point, and it's that because I was confident in learning this skill, I knew I could apply that same mindset into learning other skills, which is sales. All right. I own my own business. I have to learn how to sell my product and service to people that are prospecting to see who can help them. And I wouldn't be able to sell if I didn't have something worth selling for. And what I'm selling right now is the knowledge that it took me years to learn when it came to proper nutrition, proper dieting. And there's so many online fitness coaches. What makes people want to pay me? Again, it comes down to learning how to sell. And not just, and aside from learning how to sell your products and services, you sell everywhere. When I would go, for example, my current girlfriend, I had to sell her on the idea to go out with me. And I had to speak in a way that was able to communicate to her, hey, I am worth someone giving your time, attention, and energy to. All right. Same thing when it came to my corporate days. I had to sell the idea for people to give me time, energy, attention, and money. All right. If you're not able to communicate your thoughts, oh, that's another thing. Learning how to sell forces you how to communicate. And this is something that I'm currently working on right now. I want to learn how to better communicate my thoughts, opinions, ideas, and values, ethics, and morals. Because being able to do that allows you to almost like bend life in a way that favors you and the other person best. So let me make that clear. Because sales is mutually beneficial at the end of the day. The other person has to genuinely feel like, wow, me following this person's plan is going to benefit me in the long run. And if you are not able to communicate that and help people overcome skepticism, limiting beliefs, or whatever about an outcome that they're afraid of happening, which is like they get scammed, or you're a bad employee, or you're a creepy dude, I don't want to go on a date with you, etc. If you can't help people overcome that uncertainty, that fear about being associated with you, you're going to have a hard time navigating life. So, learn how to sell. And these are the three habits that genuinely made me my first $10,000 a month in my online fitness coaching business. Being authentic. People like, know, and trust you. Get into shape because it'll improve all areas of your life and teach you confidence and discipline that you can then apply into learning how to sell, which is another skill because life is sales at the end of the day. So be authentic, get into shape, learn how to sell. Your life will be so much smoother if you learn this.